Well, hello there, folks. I'm sitting here on a Saturday night watching some mixed martial arts fights on Netflix, among other things, and just felt the motivation to record a little podcast here, a short one. This is for the Corona Grammar Shoot podcast, the only podcast of its kind on the interwebs that I'm aware of. I'm your host, Jason F. and Matthew Glass, full stop. And you can call me Jason. In this podcast, I will be discussing various topics as viewed through the lens of correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar, the wonderful grammar technology brought to the public in 1988 by the late David-WYNN, Miller, full stop. I will also be sharing my viewpoints, some of them which could be considered opinion, which everyone has, right? Just like everyone has something else. In this podcast, I want to talk about claims that people make. This is something I keep coming back to, and something I actually encounter in close friends. And it seems as though, it would appear as though, the majority of people that I interact with, that they all have this same mentality about facts and about what is an opinion, what is a fact, so on and so forth. What's established, what's not. And it's mind-boggling to me, only because of the journey that I've been on and the things that I've done and the things that I've come to the conclusion about. And I'll lay that on the table right now. If I'm having a conversation with you and I specify something as a fact, if I make a claim that something is a fact, you best believe that I have evidence to back it up. I'm ready. I have stuff on my belt that's going to prove what I say if I say something is a fact. My powder is dry. I have a continuance of the evidence. I would never, ever claim a fact unless I could prove it. Never, ever, ever. And you can use this. You can keep this in mind in every video that you see me in, that I'm speaking. If I say something is a fact, I am saying it because I can prove it. I have evidence to back it up. Now, of course, my credentials for participating with something as a fact have to do with firsthand knowledge. And so there are the majority of things that go on in life and everyday life, you can't prove. You literally have to navigate on a lot of assumptions and presumptions and guesses. And that's fine. And everyone does well in that capacity, usually. So the way I like to frame it is, if I hear something, I usually categorize it in one of three ways. Number one, it's completely goofy and outlandish with no logic inherent in whatever the claim is, and I dismiss it. It's bullshit. Number two, it's a possibility, meaning either, I don't really care about it, it's not really a priority to me, or I really don't think it's true, but I can't prove it's not true, but it might be true. These types of things. I'll say it's a possibility. Okay? Because I can't prove it either way. And then there's the probability, where the circumstantial evidence that I've witnessed and looked at and researched, it's on the positive side of things. It's like, well, yeah, that's a probability. That's probably what happened. But again, I don't have any firsthand knowledge to prove that. So therefore, it's a probability, not a fact. And that's how I navigate. For example, a real hot topic would be the shape of the earth. And I'll give you my theory on what the earth is. And it doesn't have to do with shape. It has to do with what it is. I feel like it's a continuous plane. Okay, like you've heard of a kitchenette. Well, this is a planette. Okay, it's a small part of a larger place. And it continues, just like quote unquote time or the now space or what I call the continuum in correct sentence structure. The continuum, I don't know where it starts or if it started. I don't know where it ends or if it ends. I just know that it continues. So that's kind of like this plane that we're on. One thing I can say for myself, that I participate as a probability, meaning all the logical evidence points to that it's true, but I can't really prove it, is that the earth is not a ball spinning through the sea of space, and that there are not balls out there called planets spinning through the sea of space. In that whole thing. I can't prove it, but logic, critical thinking, common sense, can we say that? Common sense tells me that it's not. It's not that at all. And there's so many pieces of evidence that I can give you that would show that. And the best example I can give is if you were here with me in my dining room, as I'm sitting here in the dining room watching these fights on Netflix, and I would say, okay, walk outside with me. And we walk outside, and I say, right now, right here, at this juncture in the continuum, prove to me the earth is a ball spinning through the sea of space. Show me how that works. What would you do? What would you say if you were a globe earth proponent? And then maybe you might say to me, okay, Jason, well then prove to me the earth is not a ball spinning through the sea of space. Prove to me that earth is a continuous plane, as you say, with your fancy words. And then I would say, okay, look at the stars. Are they moving? Or are they sitting still? Do you sense any movement at all? Take your glass of, I don't know what you got, a Manhattan there, you got a screwdriver there, what do you got there, a mudslide, whatever you got to drink right there, a long drink, a Monaco, whatever it is. Have you spilled it because you're moving, because you're spinning at 666 miles per hour through the sea of space? No, you're not. Look at the moon. Look at the moon. Is that moving? No. Okay. So on and so forth. Anyways, the point of this podcast is to talk about how folks are it's so ingrained in them to belittle and minimize the importance of facts and the importance of having closure on what it is you're actually talking about. People are so, I feel, in my opinion, from my humble perception, I feel that people are conditioned to argue about things. And it's all based in ego. This is what I feel. This is my viewpoint on it. It's all based in ego. You can look at any social media comment section and see people arguing. See people calling other people stupid based upon an opinion. And what, folks perhaps fail to comprehend is that you can say whatever you want. If there's proof there, the argument's over, because if there is a fact present in the discussion, then there is no argument, there is no debate. There is a fact there. Now, if someone refuses to accept that fact, that is different. That's called mental illness, actually. That's what that's called. And that's a whole different domain of performance, like how you would deal with that. And I have dealt with that, definitely. But it's the main thing is ego. People just want to be right. They don't want to be thought of as being stupid or whatever. They don't like being called out on it. So they will minimize what they're saying. They'll minimize it. Like they'll make a claim that, okay, the earth is a ball spinning through the sea of space. And then I take them outside, as I gave in the example a couple minutes ago, and I say, okay, prove it. And then instead of, once they realize they can't prove it with like firsthand knowledge, that everything is secondhand knowledge, presumption, assumption to prove it, they'll take another route. They'll be like, well, I didn't know you were so serious about it. I didn't know you took these facts so serious. I didn't mean it like it was a fact. I just meant, they'll try to minimize it and make excuses as to why they say what they say. Like, the people I'm around, this is the way they act. And when I get with you, you're different. You hold me accountable. Ooh, don't do that. It makes me uncomfortable. Whatever, I'm being facetious here. But this is what I've encountered. Literally firsthand. This is what I've encountered. And I really, really, really use my best efforts to utilize the honor and the grace, the balance of those things in these situations. Because I realize people are not used to being held accountable for their words. They're just not. And it's gotten so much worse than it used to be, I feel like. When I was 18 years old in 1990, it was different. It definitely was different. Nowadays, words are what? I mean, you got dudes walking around yelling at people saying, I identify as a black woman. And they're, a Japanese dude, or something like that. That's just an example. That's not something I ever witnessed. I'm just trying to use an outrageous example, It's like people like that. They're trying to tell you that they're a cat and they need a litter box. Kids that go to school in high school, they dress up in a cat costume and they need a litter box. To do what? Do they actually go to the bathroom? I don't know. Or guys or girls that wear diapers because they identify as babies. I mean, what the fuck? It's to one degree or another, I'm sure you, the listener, have experienced this in your own families, in your own friends, in your own social circles. And on, of course, social media. I'm 100% sure you've experienced it if you're on social media. So that's the beautiful thing about correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar, is that it's all about the facts. And it's all about certifying the facts before you put them on a document, contract, postal, vessel, court, venue. You must have your dictionary. You must have your finite means. You must have your closure at the ready. When I walk down the street, I am ready, ready, ready. No matter what venue I walk in, what platform I'm on, I'm ready. If I claim a fact, I will prove it. I have a certification of the facts. I have a continuance of the evidence. I have everything to back up anything I say as a fact with correct grammar. I'm ready to live and die on that hill in any moment in life, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's in my dining room, whether it's anywhere. It doesn't matter. Whether it's down at the Secretary of State's office, Pentagon, 42nd District Court, whatever it is. I'm ready. And if you want to use correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar successfully, then you should probably be ready too. What are you doing? Are you prepared to learn this stuff? As DAVID-WYNN Miller once said, it's sort of like using a wrecking ball to swat a fly. And that is indeed a very good analogy. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one. Que sera, sera.